Bears Titans this week at the lakefront. We're gonna get into our breakdown. Me and Robert May just talked about this a second ago. I think this game is going to be a competitive one. We'll give our picks in a minute, but I think that I'm very interested to see not just the first. I'm not worried about the opening drive. I think as Bears fans, especially during the Eberflus Yetzi era, we've seen fire opening drives. I want to see what it looks like when the scripted play is over. That's something I'm be looking for. I'm looking for it at the, is it Jeffrey Simmons, the matchup against that offensive line. What's Nate Davis going to look like? I have a lot of questions about that, but I don't think this is going to be some type of game where either team kind of gets outmatched right away. But I think the main thing we got to watch is I want to see what the playbook looks like. Like, it gets real vanilla during the preseason. They're not opening everything. I want to see them I'm not expecting them to use like Kansas City, but the way Kansas City uses their running backs is something that I want to see. We just saw in Hard Knocks that Vilas was a lot closer to getting cut than at least I thought that he was. I want to see them use Vilas in the running back area and try to get him more possessions. Try to split that up between him, Khalil Herbert, and DeAndre Swift, and that'll make the game even easier for Caleb. So I'm really interested to see how the playbook is going to be, what the game plan is, or something that Caleb and also Shane Waldron pointed out this week is they're going up against a first-time defensive coordinator. So it's not like this is something where they have, old film that they can kind of rely on. Even that new defensive coordinator, he was a DB's coach in Baltimore last year, so he wasn't even doing that there. So that's what I'll be looking for. Bang, what is your what are things that you're gonna be looking for in this first game?
It's that first drive. I want to see how the team looks. I want to see how the team is prepared. Because that first game against Green Bay last year, they came out lackadaisical. They came out flat. And we end up talking about how we felt like they were not prepared. So I want to see that first 15 script from Walden and what he does after that. Even though I believe that the Bears have enough, that like May said, there's a lot of talent that ended up on that defense of the Titans. So there's going to be a lot of pressure, especially in the front. Like, Jeffrey Simmons is a bad man. So I'm interested to see what that first script looks like and that first drive in general. Can you capitalize on the momentum that you could build and come out strong and not lackadaisical like they did last year?
If y'all hear that dog in the background, I apologize. But Dante, what's your feeling on what you're going to be looking at in this first game?
I really want to see the offense overall because I'm with you. Preseason, we knew it was going to be real vanilla. Yeah, it's the West Coast offense. Yeah, we're going to throw the ball. But I really want to see, some of the formations, some of the route combinations, and seeing Rome Odunze. Because I agree. I don't think he said, he's not there to be a number 3. And I think that him and Caleb have a connection already. We've seen that from, since draft night, the way that they've, been excited and pushed each other. And I think that's going to continue on the field. So from an offensive standpoint, I'm with you. We all know how scripted drives go. So I'm not really going to be too excited if he comes out and just executes perfect because they practiced that all week. But as the game continues to go and we see the flow of the offense, I really want to see what they do. As far as the defense, Kyle Gordon. Really excited to see him. I think he's going to be a extremely impactful player, especially if our defensive line can pick it up a notch. I know everybody's going to say that's what they want to see. That's kind of the obvious. But I think, given what they did at the back half of the season, if they can do that with the DBs we have, I think this team is going to be tough to score on. So, really, like I said, Kyler Gordon in the slot and Rome Odunze are the top 2 things that I'm looking forward to on Sunday.
Mikey, you've been saying from the jump that you really paying attention to how the Bears come out this game. You voiced concerns about how they would work around it in preseason and camp. And before we get to actually want your opinion, because we didn't get a chance to ask you about that. Were you impressed, or actually did you like how Flus went about camp in preseason this year compared to last year?
Oh yeah, definitely. I like that he stuck to his word, and he gave Caleb those think it was about 41 game reps plus, the reps from the scrimmage with the Bengals earlier that week. But I like how they let the offense work through some of those kinks that they had. To be honest, the first two drives of that game, the Bears were going up against the Bengals second string defense, and it looked terrible. It just didn't look good. But I like the fact that Flus allowed them to go ahead and work that out, and then we got to see that connection with Caleb spreading the ball around. I know he got the ball to December Webster. Khalil Herbert had a big 20-yard run. Then he had the miraculous highlight play for the Bears of the preseason where he rolled out to his left, throwing off one leg to Rome. And then, we know how the rest of that drive ended out. But I think it was beneficial for Caleb, obviously for Shane Waldron, for Rome Odunze, and for the offense, just because how Ryan Post said it's time to win. So they need to catch Caleb up, as up to speed as much as possible. So I'm cool with that. I was happy with how they went about the preseason. I think Tyson Bagent looked really well too. One thing that stood out to me is that this just looks like a franchise and an organization that's heading the right way. Everything seems to be done right or being done right. We saw that highlighted in Hard Knocks, but it was, there was some competition on this roster. It's really tough, to crack the roster. So I really like where we're going. So preseason was cool with me, and then just going, as we segue into week one and to the home debut of Caleb Williams and this iteration of the 2024 Bears. For me, it's about timing. I want to see how Caleb plays. Obviously, the game is going to be sped up. I want to see how his wide receivers are. He got two new wide receivers at the three because DJ, DJ was obviously here last year, but it's a new offensive system and a new quarterback. So I want to see the timing as far as routes, as far as getting into his drop. And I really want to see how they utilize DeAndre Swift. I think DeAndre Swift is going to be X factor and a half for this offense because I think he has the potential to put up almost 1,300 yards combined if we add in receiving, what he can do in the receiving game and also on the ground. So I want to see that. And then just for me is, can this defense get after a young quarterback on the other side of Will Levis? Will Levis is kind of in that spot right now where the Titans are taking they went and drafted him and they're giving him, the reins. Obviously, they went ahead and they traded Malik Willis. So, and, Ryan Tannehill's gone. So I want to see if we can bring pressure on him with Montez Sweat. If that can open, if they double Montez Sweat, does that, allow Javon Dexter to get off and wreak havoc back there? So I think Will Levis, he does have a big arm and I think he can do some things in the passing game. But I feel like this defense, with Eric Washington being added and the emphasis that they put on in OTAs and camp on blitzing more and really coming after the quarterback, I think they need to get after him early because I think if they do, and Flus does send the house, I think Levis is liable to, to cough up that rock. And, the field position game is going to be key when you're dealing with the rookie wide receiver. So I think the more advantages that the defense can give Caleb to have to operate in the short field, then, the better for the offense and the outcome on Sunday.
Yeah, and you getting to the quarterback is you bring up a good point. Looking at the
I agree. I agree. Will Levis is fucking.
Yeah, I believe Will Levis stinks too. But I've also seen bad quarterbacks have career days on the Bears, so I've seen that a lot too. But talking about getting to the quarterback, the injury report today. Maybe a little concerning for some people. Montez Sweat was questionable. He's been questionable all week with a toe injury, but he practicing full for the first time this week. Flus said that him and Keenan Allen are expected to play. But the question marks to me here, new Bear Darrell Taylor, he did not practice that. He's questionable for Sunday with a foot injury. And then you got DeMarcus Walker, who landed on the injury report yesterday with a groin injury. He was limited. He is questionable. I wouldn't be shocked if all three play. We know Taylor's going to play. I wouldn't be shocked if both play, Taylor and Walker. But it also wouldn't shock me if one or both of them missed. And I think that would be not the way you want to start off this season. You don't want, by not being able to send as much pressure and have to relying on your backups and things like that. But if I had to bet, I think that Darrell, my prediction is that all three will play, just because I know that DeMarcus Walker is a psycho, just for being around him. He has a very intimidating energy. Like as well, he's always high intense, and the way he's been hyping up this season and what he plans to do. Said that last year he was injured 75% of it. I think he's going to want to go out there and try to, send a message and not just sit on the bench for his team. But also wouldn't shock me if he did sit down, because groins are something you don't want to play with. Bang, any concerns about this injury report or nothing much because it's just week one?
It's just week one, so I ain't really tripping about it. It's the first game of the season, so I think a lot of people are just gonna be like, but nah, I'm not worried about it. Call me week 4 when we see certain things consistent. But what do you expect? It's football. So I ain't really tripping off of it.
Dante, any concerns on the injury front?
No, not at all. Not at all. It's week one, like you said. These are all little small injuries, limited in practice and whatnot. But I mean, that's it. That's football. I think as long as we don't have any major injuries to, guys who are super critical on the offensive side of the ball, I think we'll be okay. I think our defense has some depth, and unless it's something on the D line, I'm not really too concerned. So right now, my concern is a 2 out of 10. It's nothing serious right now.
Mikey, how about you? I know you hit the eyeball emoji when you saw Tez on the injury report earlier. Are you concerned about any of this?
No, I think if anything, right now it'd probably be just DeMarcus Walker. I seen the confusion with Flus and the media report that came out. With the actual injury list for the week. As we head into Sunday, he kind of said no, they're good to go, but he's like they're not on the list. Oh wait, they're on the list. I'm not worried about them. The only one that I would kind of be worried about is DeMarcus Walker, just because of his versatility. I mean, you're already down. Zach Pickens at the defensive tackle spot, and we know that DeMarcus Walker kind of interchangeable plays, a little bit inside, plays outside. But I'm not worried. And just my last point as we get to the Titans, the Titans aspect of it too. I think they do have a good roster, but I think that they're going to be a team that probably struggles a little bit early and finds their way later on. When you add that many new pieces, like it just doesn't work automatically. There's a lot of moving parts. So I just don't think that we're going to get like the best version of the Titans, on September 8th, that they might be, come say, late November.
I 100% agree with that. You got full season Will Levis. You got new wide receivers. You got one who's either hurt and won't be playing. You got 2 new coordinators, 2 coaches, a new coach, head coach. It's a lot of changes for them as well. That's why I think
you got a new running back in Pollard.
Yeah, I keep forgetting Pollard's on that team.
You got some new, you got Awuzie, you got L'Jarius Sneed, you got Diggs, you got the new linebacker that just got there last week. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts. The one thing that does concern me, obviously, is Jeffrey Simmons, because he throws people out the club for breakfast.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I think that this is a game that the Bears should take.
And it's a whole new coaching staff too. Like, Don't get me wrong, you got. I've never been a big fan of Brian Callahan as an OC, so I'm definitely not going to be a big fan of him as coach. Now, his dad is one of the best offensive line coaches ever. And like we've said, Jeffrey Simmons is a beast. But we're talking about Flus and the Bears and everything. Your first game of as a head coach of your career, it's going to be a lot of jitters and stuff with that too. So is that team fully prepared for what's going to happen? I don't know. We'll see.
Let's get into our game picks of this week, man. I have thought long and hard about this game. If you listen to 79th Dallas this week, you already know which way I'm going. I've got the Bears winning this game 24-7. I think it'll be a close game up until midway in the third quarter. I think that both offenses might come out a little shaky. I expect the defenses to really show out the first half of the game. But I just think that ultimately Caleb's going to be too much. I think Caleb throws for about 250. I think he has 2 touchdowns passing. And I think this is going to be a big run game too. I think DeAndre Swift gets the score. Here's my bold prediction. I got 2 bold predictions. Velus Jones scores a running touchdown, and Kevin Byard gets revenge on his old team. He has a pick 6. I think the Bears win this one 24-7, finally winning opening game. Even I said finally, they won 2 years ago, but winning an opening game, starting this year off with momentum. Momentum is a big thing. I'm not calling any game a must win in a 17 game season, but I feel a lot better going into NRG Stadium next weekend, kind of playing with house money a little bit. Like, all right, we beat the team we're supposed to beat. Now let's see if we can beat who I feel is this year's NFL's culture team and knock them out real quick. And that'd be a nice 2-0 start for them. So I got Bears 24-7. Mikey, which way do you got this going? And do you have any bold predictions?
I got the Bears winning 26-14. My bold predictions is Tony Pollard has both touchdowns for the Titans, and Roma Dunze is the first career passing touchdown for Caleb Williams. I think we get that connection right away. I'm really worried about Tony Pollard just because I know he can be versatile out the backfield. The last time that we went up against him and he went up against the Eberflus defense, that was when he was with the Cowboys and he had a career game where he had 131 rushing yards and 3 TDs. So just keep an eye on him because I think this secondary will be able to lock up those wide receivers, especially with a Gimpy Hopkins. I don't think Levis is going to have much success, so I think we have to key in on Tony Pollard. But I got the Bears winning, the Bears covering. Go Bears.
Dante, you say you all in on this season. You had them going 12-6, was it? I don't
12-5.
12-5, my bad. I got forgetting about the games. How you see this weekend's game going?
I got it as a dub for the Bears. I got it 24-10. I agree with Mikey when he said I think the Titans are going to be a good team. I think they're going to compete for a wild card in the AFC, but I think that's a team that's going to take more time for them to get it together. I think it will for the Bears, at least especially on the defensive end. So I think my score is going to be 24-10. Actually, I think Caleb gets 3 touchdowns, 2 passing and 1 rushing. So I think this is going to be a really good game for the Bears. And again, I should have said this in my concerns. As long as the interior of the offensive line can hold it down, even with his ability to extend the play and everything like that, as long as they can keep him clean, I think this is going to be a really good game for Caleb. I think Will Levis is going to give us the ball at least once. And I think overall it's going to be a very, very happy first game on the lakefront. So, yeah, I'm going to go 24-10 Bears.
Bang, take us home on the local hour. How you see this Sunday going?
Yo, I got the Bears 30-10. All right. I got hits principle all day long. Will Levis is going to throw 2 interceptions and have a fumble. I got Austin Booker coming out the gate with a sack and a half. Caleb Williams is going to have at least 2 touchdowns. Roma Dunze will be getting one of those. I think it's going to be a fun day on Sunday.
So cool.
Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not